worked with SABMiller as Senior External Legal Advisor for many years. So why did you decide to join the business as General Counsel and Group Company Secretary?
Well, the simple answer is they asked me very nicely and made me an offer I couldn't refuse. The more thoughtful answer is threefold, I think. First, having worked with the group for 7 or 8 years externally, the management team I hugely admired, everyone I knew I enjoyed working with, and the opportunity to be part of a world-class team in industry was very attractive. Secondly, having been a partner in a city law firm for 15 years, enjoying what I did tremendously, but the opportunity to join the SAB team was one which I thought if I turned it down, it probably was unlikely to come around again, on my watch at least. And then thirdly, in fact, the last 2-3 years at Levels, I've been spending upwards of 85-90% of my time working on jobs for SABMiller, and so moving my office from Levels to SAB was almost a natural progression and worked very seamlessly. So.
The role is a new one for SABMiller, so why has it been created and what does it involve?
Why has it been created? Obviously the group has had a company secretary for many, many years, but I think the creation of a general counsel position really was a reflection of the increasing scale of the group, size, complexity, a much bigger business, a much more complex business, an even more geographically diverse business than it had ever been. And so what the role now involves is having much more hands-on legal oversight of the work that's done around the group, split into the M&A work that the corporate finance teams do, oversight of the legal aspects of tax and treasury, capital raising, banking, capital markets work, oversight of the operation of the group's share option plans, which again are multi-jurisdictional and multifaceted and very complex. And then finally being a member of the executive committee with the responsibility for management group-wide and risk management group-wide.
And what are the other key issues which SABMiller's group legal department deals with?
In terms of other key issues, you have to remember that given the size of the group, the legal department is really very small in the centre. We go for quality rather than quantity. And so the areas where we focus our attention are in areas where we feel we can make a difference and really add value to the business. We don't really get involved in operational issues in countries or in the regions. The teams there handle that work themselves. But where issues arise which are potentially of a group-wide significance, like a major piece of litigation or a major policy issue in a particular country, we may get involved and try and bring some of our experience to bear on that.
And how do you see your role and the role of your team in supporting the regions? And will you continue to operate in a devolved fashion?
The group's central legal function doesn't get involved in individual legal issues or operational legal issues in the countries or in the regions. It's much more being in a position to help where we have experiences that we can push down to regional management or regional legal teams. And then dealing with regional M&A work is also handled from the centre. So we work closely with the London or Johannesburg-based corporate finance teams supporting M&A activities in the regions, even for the smallest of deals.
So what would be a good example of the assistance that you might give to the regions?
Well, a good example in the past year has been the further investment which we've made in Angola. We've had a business there for many years managing under contract assets which are owned by the government. Those assets have been through a privatisation process, and the group legal team based in London has been supporting the Johannesburg-based corporate finance team and the in-country management in the participation in that privatisation process, which involves not only negotiating with the government, but negotiating with our local partners and ensuring we have a structure in place for the business in Angola that's both tax efficient and operationally efficient and sets us up to expand the business there in the future.
And finally, what are the key regulatory issues which SABMiller plc faces which you advise on?
Fall into 3 or 4 different categories. One, obviously, as a UK listed company, number 28, 29 in the FTSE 100 index, corporate governance issues dealing with the UK listing authority and the compliance with the listing rules, which is very much as a compliance and governance role. Secondly, obviously, we have a secondary listing in Johannesburg arising out of our South African heritage, and I have a team based in Johannesburg that interact on a daily basis with the Johannesburg Stock Exchange and keep us on the straight and narrow there. Thirdly, we have a team that handles the group-wide share option plans. We have a multi-jurisdictional set of schemes, and issues arise that are unique to the various regions, and our UK-based team have to deal with all of that and comply with not just the UK listing authority rules relating to share options, but also all the local rules that come up there. And then finally, I think on a sort of group-wide basis, we do have a lot of interaction with particularly the corporate affairs function, looking at group-wide policy initiatives, global alcohol policy, business conduct and ethics, all of these policy-related issues which have to be devolved and embedded within the regions as part of our system of governance and control and risk management generally.